What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning back into the Hook 937 YouTube channel. Shooting some more GTO content like always. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Today, trying to finish mocking up this slipper clutch on the LS2 motor that we have. So if you're watching this video, that means you've already seen yesterday's video, which was the issues of this bell housing not fitting, not being able to clear this clutch, and the stock bell housing is around here somewhere. And we just, it just wasn't going to work. So the solution that we came up with was actually ICT billet makes this. This is a shim. This is a 3/8 inch 0.375 shim for the bell housing to, yeah, something like that. The bell housing to the back of the block, as well as we'll have this plate that goes in. We had to install some longer dowels. I had to check the depth of this into the pilot bearing. So I think we're gonna have to swap out for the larger pilot bearing. I got some videos of that, or a couple of photos of that I'll drop in here as well. The issue I believe we're going to run into next is if we're shimming the transmission back a 1/2 inch, is this mounting point going to line up under the car? And I'm thinking probably not. So we're going to try to come up with a solution where we can maybe move the motor forward a 1/4 inch and shim, or a 1/2 inch or something like that. We're going to have to get creative with it here, but the goal is to get the slipper clutch to work. Just a lot of stuff I didn't realize that we were going to have to do installing the slipper clutch on an LS engine. But hey, I'm learning as I go, and I'm taking you guys along for the ride, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But for now, set you back up on the tripod. I'm going to try to re-mock up this clutch. I'm not torquing anything down to spec or anything like that, so we're going to try to re-mock the clutch and hopefully get the data that we're looking for today is, will the throwout bearing fit? Our shim installed. I actually installed it backwards, but it doesn't matter. This is supposed to line up over here. Doesn't make a difference. The fact is the shim is installed. Bell housing is bolted all the way down. And if we look, we have clearance to all of our clutch all the way around. Which, if you've seen yesterday's video, you know that this was an issue. Alright, so just out of curiosity, I threw a couple of these feeler gauges together. This is 127th thou, so it's over 1/8 inch. And I'm sliding in and out of there really easy. So I have over 1/8 inch clearance to the bell housing all the way around. As you've seen, we spun the motor over, so no issues there. So next thing I'm going to do is measure my distance to the fingers so that I can see if I get the correct air gap on my throwout bearing, which is over there somewhere. Alright guys, so we're getting ready to measure to the fingers of the clutch. So we got it zeroed out. We'll lock it in. I'm going to measure in millimeters. We can convert to inches really easy. 68.8 68.7, 68.6, equals, divided by 6, our average is 68.45. Alright guys, so the air gap we want is a 0.125 inches, which is about 3 millimeters. So we're going to take our 3.17, so we're going to take our 68.45 minus 3.15, just for simplicity. 65.3 is what we're looking to get millimeter wise. So I think we need to come in 1. And let's see where we're at. I would like, if we're going to be close, I'd like it to be on the tighter side, so 60 over 65.3, because this isn't a diaphragm style clutch, so we don't quite need the gap manufacturer recommends, because it's not a diaphragm style clutch. 66.0, that's, I'm good with that. And that'll make our air gap just a little tighter than it would have been for a diaphragm style clutch. So let me measure it on this side. Manufacturer calls for a 0.125 air gap. We wound up with a 0.098 air gap, which after talking to the manufacturer a long time ago, I haven't talked to him recently, a 0.98 air gap is fine. They even said I could probably go a little lower on this because it's not a spring diaphragm style clutch. We are the clutch itself has fingers, so we're getting ready to lock this in all the way. Put our lock in tab here, tighten it down, and then we're gonna install this onto the engine and use our little bore scope and check and see if we have the air gap that we're looking for. Make sure we actually have an air gap this time. But all in all, I think we're good because we have a lot of adjustability in the back. This can come out, I think this is adjustable from 2.02 to 3.0 something, and we're sitting at about a 2.6 or somewhere in there. So I can move it 0.4 of an inch in either direction. So if it's not perfect but it's close, I think we're going to be able to make it work. All right guys, so we got the bore scope, and I got a little screwdriver here because some of the fingers on the clutch with gravity, they kind of rest down. I was looking in there with the bore scope a second ago, and that's what I realized. So I'm going to show you the air gap. We got the transmission bolted to the bell housing. As you know, we got all our clutch specs set. We got our throwout bearing set, bore gauge feed. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the feed on this bore gauge while we go in here to see if we have the air gap that we're looking for. So as you can see here, it's the first finger on the clutch, and we have that air gap. We have that 1/100th or that 0.100 air gap. And then if you go down here, you'll see that finger's touching our throwout bearing. But I'll try to get in here with the screwdriver and show you that the finger is just resting that way because of the play, because of gravity. So if we could see that, that's no tension. I'm doing that barely any pressure with the screwdriver. That's just how it's resting because of gravity. So, and then on the big end, when we're really leaning on it, the holes, like that one right there in the fingers, will allow centrifugal force to counteract in the other direction, actually drawing the fingers further away from the throwout bearing. So, success! We have a slipper clutch installed on the mock-up motor, but the LSX will be the same bolt pattern and everything. We have a slipper clutch installed, we have an SFI rated bell housing, we have our throwout bearing, we have the proper air gap, we have our face-bladed transmission. So since the first time since this build begun, we have a clutch that will support the power and a drive line that'll take the abuse. So pretty happy with that. With that being said, I'm going to clean up a little bit and I'll come to you guys with the outro here in just a minute. Well, as you guys see, we're finally able to make the slipper clutch fit on the GTO's engine and transmission. Like I've been saying from the beginning, this is just for mock-up, but it's a huge relief to know that we finally have a clutch in this on this setup that'll allow us to lean on it a little harder. If you've been with the channel for a while, you know that during race week, we were pulling springs out of the wastegate, trying to make less and less power. And we were still pushing through that monster twin disc clutch. It just never stood a chance, and we weren't really even leaning on the car that hard. So this is a huge monkey off our back, and it's just a great feeling to know that, you know, hopefully this clutch will work for us and moving forward. But it's a great feeling to know that it's in there, it's set up, the throwout bearing's correct, the pilot bearing's correct, the depths are correct, all that stuff is good. So hit the bell so you don't miss the next video, because it's going to be us putting the engine and transmission in the car. So you're going to want to see how we handle the basically the transmission being shimmed back a half an inch. So hit the bell so you see how we counteract that, what we do to make the whole setup work. Now that the clutch is in there, we got to modify other stuff. You change one thing, you change everything. Thank you to everybody who's already subscribed. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Leave us a like, leave us a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the video. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.